Okay, in this video, I'm going to walk you through making a bar chart with the Holly Bird data. And in a previous video, I sort of reviewed the data set, but I'll just quickly show you. This is a worksheet that's uploaded, that's shared on OneDrive. This is the bird data that we collectively entered. This is the tree data that Dylan added to this worksheet from the Survey 123 Holly survey, and this is the collated data. And so it's got the bird survey information and it's aligned with the tree information. In the scatter plot example, I walked through how you want to pare this data down just to what you plan to analyze. And so that includes the observation minutes. Now, we're not analyzing that, but it's important to keep that with the information because it represents survey effort. Your group number, your observer names, and then the things we analyze is the berries, number of berries, whether they're absent or present, number of species observed, and numbers of individuals. Scatter plots are great for when you're looking at two continuous variables like numbers of berries and numbers of birds. But when you're looking at a categorical predictor variable like berries present or absent, sometimes that's a better predictor than some number of berries, then you're thinking more like a bar chart. So I'm going to use this as another example, and we're going to walk through building up a bar chart. To do that, you need some information, some summary statistics on this data set. And the two types of statistics you need, descriptive statistics you need, are the averages. So average number of birds when there are berries absent, and average number of birds when there are berries present. You also need some estimate of variation around that average or mean. And in our case, we're going to use standard deviation because that's really easy to calculate in Excel using a formula. We found in a previous example that some of these numbers are not actually being understood by Excel as numbers. So we're actually going to make sure that all of our numbers are treated as numbers here. And so I'm converting, there was this array of data that was estimated number of berries that was being treated as text. So I'm going to do that first thing. So to get the summary data, you're going to have to calculate these metrics from this data set. Now you could do that manually. You could write down the number of bird species present and for all of the fields where we're saying they're present and then divide by that number of samples and get your average. But Excel does it pretty easily. And you can do this in a variety of ways. If you have a huge data set or a large data set, pivot tables make it really easy. This is such a small range of data that you can use the sort function. And so the sort function is from the home menu. There's a sort and filter function. Go to custom sort. Make sure that up here it's selected that my data has headers. And then you're going to want to sort by berries present or absent. And now it has organized your data so that all of the first set of observations are all of those where berries are absent, and the second set of observations are those when berries are present. And so I'm going to calculate some summaries, and I'm just going to copy and paste the data here so that we can sort of treat it separately. So this is berries absent. This is, oops, we don't want to do that. We want to take the estimated number of bird species here, paste that here. And so what we want to get for this is an average. And so it's 5 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to be something a little more than 1. You can also use a formula in Excel to do this. And I'm going to first type a title here, average species. And then in this next cell, I'm going to type a formula. I'm going to do that by typing in the equal sign. And then I'm going to select this f sub x function. And some functions tend to just pop up, and they're usually the most recently used ones. I already see average here. You can also type average into your search function and then select that as your function. And so when you say OK, what it wants to know next is the range of data that you want an average for. And so I click the side button there, and then I select my range of data, and I click OK. So the average number of species when they're absent is 1.25. Actually, I'm going to do it like this. Average. And this is going to be absent. And now I'm going to do the same thing for present. So I'm going to select the range of data that is, oops, just present. And the numbers of bird species. And I'm going to, again, do a formula for average. Average. And then I'm going to select this arrow here and select the numbers of bird species that are associated with holly berries being present. And select OK. Uh-oh. It's adjacent cells. That's okay. So I always look at these errors. But I don't want to include the absent berries. And so there are an average of 1.25 bird species present when berries are absent and 1.75 when berries are present. So these are the numbers I want. The other value I want is standard deviation. I'm going to call it STDV. And you do the same exact process here. I'm going to say I want to make a function, and there's options for standard deviation. One is the standard deviation of the sample, which is we don't have a population survey, we have a sample. And so that's the better one to select. There's also this general standard deviation. You're going to get similar values, but I select standard deviation.s. Click OK, and you select the exact same range of data in this case. And I can do that again. Let's actually select the function, standard deviation, S, and my range of data is for the ones present. Okay. And so what these standard deviation values are telling us is it has to do with the structure of a normal distribution. And so this is the range across which a very large portion of the observations are likely to fall. So this gives you an idea of how confident you are, or of the possible range of values of average numbers of bird species present. As you can see, we only have 1, 2, 3, 4 observations in this sample. The sample is not representing something that's true. Now, if we were to collect a lot more samples, like 30, we might get closer to what the truth is. But the average number that we're going to find isn't still the true average. It's an approximation of the average. And so we always have to put some estimate of error, and standard deviation is one of these estimates of variation around a descriptive statistic like average. So that's why we need to have the error, these standard deviation values. Okay, so now I have everything I need to make a bar chart. And so I'm going to select this range of data here. I want to make a bar chart with my average values, and I'm going to select those, and I'm going to go to insert, not histogram. I'm going to go into charts, and I'm going to select a column chart here. Okay. And I always try to make sure that what I'm reading here actually aligns with what the data is saying. So for absent, we have 1.25. Yep, that looks right. And for present, we have 1.75. Good. Again, I usually get rid of that chart title and just type in a figure caption. We do want to add in an axis title here. And this should be average number of bird species. Okay, that's what these sizes of the columns are representing for absent and present. And this, I'll say holly berries, absent or present. And so, great. Looks like when they're present, there are more birds. But how confident are we in that? Well, we can get an estimate of that by adding in error bars. Now, this is the one thing, if you learn one thing about the automatic stuff that Excel does for you, is never let Excel put error bars on your bar charts because it is taking, they're always going to be the same exact size, which means Excel is somehow calculating some level of error around these two numbers that you just added in. Okay, we didn't even add in a range of numbers, and it's for both of them. And the error should be calculated for each mean. Okay, so these are never going to be right. You have to add in the bars on manually. And so I select this arrow over here and I select more options. And when I get to this menu, there is an option for, once I go into this vertical error bar sort of menu, error bar options, there is an option for custom. And so you're going to, and don't take the defaults again. It's somehow made some custom default error bars. Don't do it. You have to select standard deviation. And so your values here. And so I'm going to go in and I'm going to select these two values as a plus. So the distance that's going to go above the average. And I'm also going to have it go below the average by the same amount. And that is our standard error. And what we can see here is, especially for birds absent, because we had some zero counts, we are not very confident in that the range of possible, some idea of the range of possible average values is somewhere between 3 and a negative number. Once your error bars are going into negative territory, by a lot at least, you're not super confident. This error bar is a little bit clustering closer, but again, we have a small sample size. But it's giving us a very good picture of not only the differences between the two groups, but how confident we are. So that is an accurate bar chart for this small data set. Now we could do the same exact bar chart looking at numbers of bird individuals. And so I'm just going to build one again for and replace species with numbers of individuals, see if that makes any difference in the way our bars look. I'm going to actually take this same range of formulas. I'm going to have to modify them because I have to select my range of data. Oh, yeah, I still accurately. And so here's my range of cells for absent. Here's my range of cells present. It had selected the wrong range. Okay, and then for standard deviation, I'm going to need to do the same thing. Select the correct range of cell values. Okay, and I will make another bar chart here. Insert charts. Okay. Doesn't look all that different, but we'll see if the error bars look any different. I can already see the error around these is sort of scaling pretty similarly. But I'm going to go in and add, I have to add an axis title at least, and that is average number of individual birds. Berries. Now here we look at our error bars. Again, we go to more options and we go into this, use this bar icon to do custom. And we will select for our upper range and for our lower range these values that represent standard deviation. Okay. The story looks pretty similar. Okay. In these two, with a wide range around absent and a narrow range around present, this could change with a much larger data set like the collated one you have. So that's how you do bar charts with error bars.